Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Three in the Box podcast, powered by Power Soccer Shop. You're listening to the musical stylings of the greatest band in the world, Carly Cosgrove. I'm Bill, he's Josh, he's Alex, and this is Three in the Box. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final Season 1 episode of Three in the Box podcast, powered by Power Soccer Shop. As always, I'm Bill Schultz, here with my buddies Josh Berger and Alex Johnson. How are we feeling, guys?
Feeling good. I can't believe the season's over.
Well, it's not over yet.
Not quite, but the soccer season's over. But
odd season.
Yeah,
it's true. It's been.
Now we go to the playoffs too. We're gonna do it live next month.
True story. That announcement is later in this episode, so our listeners don't know that
Double
yet.
announcement.
You got to watch this whole episode to find out.
Yeah.
This is our last episode in the way that we think of episodes, but there will be some Nationals coverage. So stay tuned to this episode for an announcement about that. We're pretty excited about it. Well, guys, this is the episode where we revisit our rankings, our power rankings from back in December or whenever it was. We did those originally. So folks are going to get to see that. And we're going to talk a little bit right now about some of the big things happening with USPSA, right? We've got elections for 3 positions happening. We've got 2 proposed, not rule changes, not like game rule changes, but structural kind of governance changes we're going to talk a little bit about. But quickly, before we get to that, I just want us to be able to take an opportunity and really thank everybody out there in podcast land for their support. This is episode what, you guys? 8? Is this the 8th episode? I think
so. Yeah.
I just think it's incredible, and just want to say thank you to our viewers and listeners for keeping us, relevant for 8 episodes and participating and letting us know that you guys are loving this, and I'm just so excited that this turned into everything we hoped it would and more. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Alex. I don't know if you had.
I would second that, and thank you to everybody. Special thanks to Power Soccer Shop for supporting us along this journey. Wouldn't be possible without Sheena and the whole crew. So we definitely appreciate that. To all the fans, that's awesome. Fans, peers, we're all one community. So it's kind of weird saying fans, but everybody out there.
Soccer, so we call them supporters, right? Like they can be a supporter.
Yeah, everybody that's out there supporting us, we definitely appreciate it. And we go into an off season after June too. So if you guys have suggestions or anything you might want to see us lean into a little bit going into next year, just shoot us a message or post it somewhere. Let us know.
We'll keep the social medias rolling. We probably won't see as much from us as you do now, but we'll keep the post going. We'll make sure our buddy Devin is out there updating the Instagram and the Facebook and keeping everybody engaged. And we fully intend to come back, back and badder than ever next season. So let us know what you think and what you want to see from us. We got some ideas and we'd love to hear yours.
Yeah. Now, I want to say also, say thank you to everybody who's been supporting us. We literally could not do this show without you guys. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from many encounters from Bill, Alex, and I just being at soccer games, and I'm sure Nikki as well, who is here with us. I also want to say thank you to Nikki for joining the squad halfway through the season and being a kind of a moderator and keeping us in check here and making us look good by blowing up our screen on one person. Can you blow me up, please? Make me a big screen. Yeah, there we go.
Make it all about Hollywood. There we go.
Hey, there we go. Thank you. Okay, let's go back. I don't want all the attention. But no, I just want to say thank you to everybody. And oh my God.
There we go.
I gotta shave this mustache. It's horrible. I'm gonna cover my mouth for a second here. No, but again, thank you.
makeup
that sounds
person.
good. Great. Yes, we definitely need a makeup person. But yeah, thank you to everybody. We've enjoyed it, and thank you to all of the guests that have appeared on the show. We really appreciate all you've done to help us out too, and yeah, we appreciate all the opinions. Yeah, and the time as well. So yes, thank you everyone, and we can't wait to see you all in 3 short weeks.
Yeah, we are very excited for nationals. We'll talk a little bit later in this episode about what we're going to be doing for nationals. But super excited. We will be there. You will see us, and you will hear from us. Just sort of in the spirit of what these guys were talking about, I just wanted to thank a couple people. I mean, Sheena from Power Soccer Shop, everybody at Power Soccer Shop has been incredible, and we absolutely could not have done this without them. Steve Everett, our national president, has been a huge support to me. I want to thank my co-coach with Wisconsin Whitetails, Andrea Frisch, who a lot of you guys know. She's been an incredible sort of behind-the-scenes supporter of all of this. Tony Jackson, like we wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for Tony Jackson out in Phoenix. Tony, I originally approached to do this podcast with me, and he was like, I love it. I think you should do it. I think you should call Josh. And I was like, woo, that kid from California. Like, okay.
Right.
But so thanks. Yeah. So thanks to Tony for Tony is really responsible for how this all came together because I reached out to Josh. Josh and Alex had a relationship from the board, and Alex and I knew each other from, our Wisconsin, Florida connection. But it really wouldn't have happened without Tony and his encouragement to get it going. And also, we don't talk about this, or we haven't since the first episode, but the music that we use in this episode, it's all by a band called Carly Cosgrove out of Philadelphia. They're one of my favorite bands in the world. I truly just went up to them at a show and was like, can we use your music? And after a few emails talking about it, they let us use their entire catalog for free. So if you like pop punk music, or even if you don't, check out Carly Cosgrove on wherever you listen to music and give them a few streams because they're letting us use their music for free, which has been incredible and giving us the flavor that we have. So yeah, I'll shut up. But thank you most of all to all of you guys that support us. And we're so glad and thankful to y'all for making this what it's become.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. Thank you to Mariah, Alex Johnson's wife, for making all the merch, the stickers, and the shirts that hopefully all of you guys already pre-ordered. The deadline was 2 days ago, but hopefully you've got them. And if not, we will have more. We're gonna have some at Nationals anyway. So bring your checkbook, bring your Cash App, your Zelle, your Venmo, whatever your kids use these days. Yeah.
And I'll jump on really quick. We got a lot of people behind the scenes helping us out, and I think we touched on pretty much everybody that's
Devin
giving us a hand. Yeah, Devin, doing the social media. We appreciate all his efforts. But just everybody in general. I mean, we can't thank you guys enough. It's been cool. We're having fun. We just gotta sit around and shoot the breeze about everything power soccer related. We love it. So when we stop recording, we'll talk, for another 15, 20 minutes.
Till Mariah comes and breaks us up, usually.
Right.
Till Mariah comes and needs Alex to do
I want my husband back. I want him back.
Yeah.
By the way, I just realized you're wearing this shirt right now, Alex. That looks good. Yeah, the 3-in-a-box shirt. Yeah. That looking nice. I like it. Looking real nice.
Looks good.
Get yourself one at Nationals.
Ooh. I'm telling you, those stickers are gonna go like hotcakes. Really cool stickers.
Cool. I think it's gonna be a great time. Not just the booth being there with the merchandise, but then having the live booth there. That's gonna be so much fun. I'm looking forward to that.
It's gonna be a good time.
All right, cool. Everybody.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, come check us out. Come say hi. All right, guys. Well, let's transition a little bit. We don't have. I mean, there were definitely some games, some tournaments that have happened in the last 4 or 5 weeks since we've had an episode, but we're kind of going to pivot from that this week and just spend just a little time talking about what's going on at the national level in terms of USPSA and the annual general meeting, which happens in just a couple weeks on June 8th. We've got candidates running for 3 new positions on the board. One of which our buddy Josh here is vacating a position on the board, and then we've got a couple proposed rule. I call them rule changes, but they're not soccer game rule changes.
No,
they're
it's
just
more like it's
structural changes to the board,
yeah,
right? Or to the governance.
Yeah.
So let's get into it just a little bit. So first of all, our fearless leader Steve Everett, who has been a great supporter of the podcast and has been on the podcast a couple of times. Well, once, but he was on 2 episodes. Is stepping down after I think 4 or 5 years as our
it seems like
president. And there's one candidate running to replace him. It's Nathan Mayer. Nathan, who y'all know from the Minnesota Shockwave and the U.S. national team, is the candidate running to replace Steve. And I had the opportunity to have a conversation with Nathan just yesterday as we record this. So 3 days ago as this is coming out. But I played against Nathan a lot, being the same kind of region up here in the upper Midwest. But it's the first time I got a chance to chat with him about, his vision for the organization. And I'll be honest, I was pleasantly surprised by what he had to say. I was excited to hear, his conversation with me reflected a lot of what was in his statement that was sent out to all of the team reps. So I guess I would say that too, guys. The process can be a little confusing for this, right? And Alex and Josh are both on the board, and maybe they can help me sort of explain this a little bit. But for anybody who doesn't know, each dues paying team has a USPSA rep. I'm the representative for my team, Wisconsin Whitetails. I believe Josh, your dad, is the coach and rep from your team, Chico, correct? And Alex, we were chatting about somebody from Brooks, I think, is the Brooks Barracudas rep. But the way it's supposed to work is that your rep gets this information and then votes on behalf of the team. So as this comes out on May 22nd, if you're listening to this and you haven't heard from your rep about any of the things that we're talking about or going to talk about here in the next few minutes, reach out to them and see how they're thinking and what they might be potentially going to vote, because Nathan is the only candidate. There's 3 positions open on the board. Nathan is the only person running unopposed. We have 2 running for director of sport and 2 running for Josh's old position, the Western Region director. So lots going on. And then 2 rule changes that are going to get voted. I feel like I've been talking for a really long time.
No, that's good. I mean, so I'll talk about the candidates. So for director of sport, we have George Ostrom, great guy, one of the best referees in the game, I think. He's just an awesome guy, and I always enjoy when he refs my game. And then we got Zach Schmuel from the Vermont Chargers. Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. So I don't know on him on a personal level. I've never really played against him either, but just from my seeing interactions that I've had with him, actually on his podcast, he's a regular supporter of ours. He usually leaves a lot of comments and questions. So thank you, Zach, for being a strong supporter of ours. I really like what he has to say. So I think these are both great candidates for director of sport. And then for Western Regional Director, my old position, we got Joel Rodriguez from the LA Angels, who used to play for the Chicago Fire back in the day. Great guy, awesome. He's a go-getter. And then we got Lola Grace from the San Jose Steamrollers. She's a great person. I think she's tough to play against. I've definitely commended her many times on this podcast that she has improved. But I think she's just a hard worker and wants what's best for the sport. So I think she'll be a great asset too. So there's a lot of great candidates that's coming up for the June 8th vote.
Well, I just want to echo that, Josh. I mean, George Ostrom is based in Minneapolis, and so we have the pleasure, honestly, truly, the pleasure and honor of having George kind of leading our small group of referees up here. And everything Josh said is correct. He's a fantastic ref. One of those refs, and I could say all kinds of things about him, but I'll just say, like, what I appreciate about him in a sport like soccer that's so subjective, he's so good at understanding what a situation calls for. And I think that's a great asset to bring to a position like director of sport, where you're working directly with the rules and things like that. With Zach Schmoldo, like, I would echo Josh's comments again. If you've been watching this podcast from the very beginning, and one of the early episodes, we talked about how, like, none of the three of us really know what's going on up in the Northeast, right? Zach has been an incredible asset to this podcast as somebody who has kept us really informed, and as somebody who's, like, direct messaged with him quite a bit about, like, what's happening up in the Northeast and talked about, tournaments. But I'm always so grateful and appreciative and pleasantly surprised by his knowledge of the game and just, like, how much information he's able to give me, even in a text message, about what's going on up there. So two great candidates for that position. For West, Josh, I know Joel pretty well from playing against him when he was with Chicago. I don't know Lola as much. You've talked very highly about her, but lots of good candidates for those positions.
Great candidates. The board is in good hands.
I'll touch on it really quick. I don't know too much about West Coast regional. I know of Joel and Lola. So not too much to comment there. As far as George, I would echo your guys' thoughts. He's one of the best refs in the game, and every time he steps out there, I know he's going to call it fair. He brings a wealth of knowledge. Also, for Zach, being with Vermont, he's also a wealth of knowledge in his own right, too. And he was part of the tournament selection committee, too. So I've been able to work with him on that over the past several months. Very tenacious. He's out there. He's making phone calls. He's getting hold of people. So I think, whoever everyone decides to vote for, it's I don't think you can go wrong here with this group of candidates, because there's a lot of good people, and I love to see that people out there running, and everybody just wants to make the sport better. So it's cool to see.
Yeah. I just realized we're kind of running an unofficial campaign for all these candidates right now.
Yeah, I don't want to sway anybody one way or another.
No, absolutely not.
More informational. It's just more informational.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's possibly a way to tweak the process, because you really only get one statement and then that's it. Like, is there a way to put everybody in front of all the team reps? Or I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Alex. I mean, because you know me, like, I'm always out here, trying to. I think one of the things that we can do, and I've talked to Alex and Josh quite a bit about this, is, like, I think one of the cool things we get to do on this podcast is really, like, help like foster conversation nationwide, right, about power soccer and about the game in the United States. And I, like Alex said very well, like, we're not out here trying to campaign for any candidate. But I do think there are things that we can talk about that can be done with the process. All of us as team reps got this email on when did that come in? I guess it was the 10th of this month. And then we vote on the 8th of next month. So in those 4 weeks or whatever it is, like, all of us team reps, and there's one for each team, 60 some teams in the league now, right? Like, we got to go out there, and it's completely on us to communicate not only these things to our teams, but then try to gather how the collective group feels about it, and then turn around and vote on it, right? And I've talked to a lot of people in the last week and a half that have no idea this is going on. And so when Alex and Josh hopped on to record this with me tonight, and Nikki as well, like, they jumped on here thinking, oh, Bill's going to have some game results for us like he always does. And I was like, nope, I think we're going to talk about board elections and some of the proposed governance changes, because I think it's so important for everybody to understand what they are and to have a conversation about the process, right? Like, I'm not criticizing anybody in leadership because I don't get to see it. But I think that's what I would say is, like, it's not super transparent. And as we look to people like Nathan, George, Zach, Joel, and Lola, what I would say to them is like, can we, and Alex, who's going to be back on the board next year, and Ginny and Lexi as well. Like, are there things we can do to make this more transparent and to make it more, to have more user input, right? To allow more players and coaches to be able to have a say in this process, I think is what I would hope we could move towards. And I had a good conversation with Nathan yesterday about, a few ways we can make that happen, a few ways to make the process more visible. And I'm happy to hear that he's thinking that way as well.
That's great. That's great. That's really nice. Yeah.
So because we're pushing time, guys, I did want to just talk quickly about the 2 governance changes that were proposed. One that I think I've heard a lot of positive feedback on is changing the maximum roster size from 12 to 8, which would mean that when you go to play a league sanctioned game, you're only able to have a maximum of 8 players on your roster. As opposed to now, I think the limit is 12. And I think the thought process here is to push teams that have a lot of player assets to create new teams, I think is the idea.
Well, that's the whole point, is that we want to create more teams out there. We want to create more regional teams in your own area. So that way the teams that travel, like I think Brooks Barracuda, they travel 6 hours minimum to go to a local tournament, which is quote unquote local. So that's the whole point of this change. So we want to create more teams.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that vote will go. I come from a large organization. I'm not going to necessarily share what I think Brooks's opinion on it is. Doesn't matter. But I'm interested to see how people feel about this across the league, because I've been hearing mixed responses. So, I guess another thing to point out is one of the big pushes for this is to be in compliance with FIFA, which is the world governing body for all of power soccer. We as an organization are the only ones that are not in compliance. So that's another reason why there's a big push for that. And that's me not being political. That is just fact. I think how it is.
I think without getting political, right? Like, I think it's okay to say, like, I think the flip side to this argument is, like, because I've had this conversation with people, like my leadership group with Wisconsin, is like, our organization set up to make a change like this, right? Like, if you have a larger organization, or if you're an organization like what we're trying to do here in Wisconsin, is like we have like what am I trying to say? Like a competitive team that we're trying to build, along with kind of a bench, if you will, which is like our more recreational group, right? And we don't right now think of them as separate teams. We think of like a traveling competitive team, and we think of like our sort of like groundswell, right? Like our next man up group, but they don't necessarily travel with us. Is our organization and our organizations across the country equipped to support more than one competitive team? Some already do it. Some would have to make some changes to be able to do it. So I think that the opposite. Am I right? I think that's like the opposing argument, right?
Yeah. I think some of these organizations, what's the magic number? When do you split? How much commitment do you have per team? So I think everybody's different. Regionally is different. The West Coast a little more bunched up, so they can get to games all the time. It might be a little easier on them. Different regions, you might have to travel a little bit farther, or now that you split teams, you don't have to go quite as far. So I can see both sides of the fence for both of those. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then
go out and vote.
Yeah, go up and talk to your reps, right? Because really, it's your team rep that gets to cast a vote for you. And that vote is on June 8th. So make sure you have that conversation with your rep. And if you haven't heard from them, make sure you do. The other one, guys, and I would really like to hear your opinions on this, and then we'll move on to our power rankings, is just the potential addition of a central regional director. And we have here on either side of me, the current Eastern Region Director and the current Western Region Director. So I'd love to hear you guys' perspective on this one.
Yeah, I'll go first. I love the move. It's much needed. The regions are split from the Atlantic Ocean to past the Mississippi, then from past Mississippi all the way to the West Coast. So geographically, Josh is all the way on the West Coast. I'm all the way on the East Coast. There's not quite as much representation in the middle, which is understandable. But at the same time, with the amount of growth that this organization is going to with more and more teams, it's the demand's only gonna go up. I actually think, and I don't want to slay anybody. This is just my opinion. This move is a great move, and I think it's pretty much inevitable because you got to split it more than 50-50 because the United States is huge. So trying to represent with few people is a tall task. It's a very tall task. So I think it's a necessary move. I'm hoping that, again, I don't want to give out answers, but I know how I feel about it, and I think Josh feels the same, but I'll let him say his piece.
Yeah, Alex is right. I do feel good about this idea as well because like I said before already, we want to create more teams, and I think the best way to create more teams is to have a representative that represents this central location. Because there's a lot of states in the central part of the U.S. that does not have a team. Pretty sure the Dakotas don't have teams. Wyoming doesn't have a team. There's one team in Colorado.
Missouri to Texas to the
Utah,
West Coast.
Idaho.
There's no team. Colorado is like the only one that's somewhere in the middle. So.
Exactly, and we need to create more teams. And so, if you want to see the sport grow, that's what we have to do. So, I like this idea a lot. So, we'll see what happens. But
yeah, I think and I appreciate that. Thank you guys for sharing your opinions on that. I think people should absolutely vote the way they want to vote. I think this is one of those that I've heard mostly positive responses on. And as somebody in the Central, right, like I'm in Wisconsin. All the teams we play are Minnesota-based teams. I think there's a lot of us in the middle, right? Indiana, those teams, St. Louis, those teams, Texas, those teams could certainly benefit from having a rep that's a little more geographically knowledgeable about what's going on here, right? So
and the last thing I would say about it is, as much as myself and Josh are involved, being regional directors and being part of the pod and keeping up with like what's going on nationally, which I think we do a pretty good job on. It's still a huge task to try and like stay locked in with teams in the middle. Sometimes you just don't know what's going on, centrally. And I think it's time, we get a rep in there and we'll be able to coordinate all three zones together as regional directors. So, I think it'd be a good move.
Yeah, we need a mountain time zone, eastern time zone, and a western time zone.
Oh my gosh, don't get it.
We can get to that. Yeah.
I mean, down the road, I think that's great.
One new person at a time.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
This is the last thing I'm going to ask because this just came to me. Does this change the balance of the number of voting members on the board? Like, does it change it from like an odd to an even number?
Yeah, I don't know.
We at 6 right now.
I'm not sure. I mean, you're both there.
No idea.
Let me think here. East, west.
The whole country is watching you do math in your
I know. East,
oh boy.
Director of Sport, Secretary.
Yep.
Treasurer.
Yep.
Vice President, President.
Yeah.
So we're at 7. But we don't have a vice president technically. So we're at 6.
Fair enough.
Right.
All right. Well, more things that for somebody else to worry about. But We hope all you guys, benefited from this conversation a little bit, and good luck to all of the board members running. And thanks to Nathan Mayer for taking the time to appease me yesterday and have a conversation and feed me some information for this segment. And last, again, thank you to all of you for supporting the pod. We can't wait to see you at Nationals in a few short weeks. We will all be there. We will all be at the 3 in the Box booth hanging out when we're not doing other things. So come check us out.
We hope you enjoy our power rankings coming up next.
Yes, sir. And thank you to Grant Shipley, who you're going to see in the next segment, and Peyton Sefick, who you're going to see in the one after that, for coming back and joining us and giving our rankings. And thanks to Nikki, who's hiding right now, but is a part of those as well. So,
right.
Just don't get mad at us for the rankings, okay? We love all you equally.
Get mad.
Okay?
Come find us at Nationals.
Yeah.
We'll have this conversation. I'm here for it. Come find me.
Yep. Prove us right. Prove us wrong and prove us right. That's all I can say.
Thanks everybody
for
for Power Soccer Shop. We're 3 in the Box. Thanks everybody.
Take care.
Hello everybody and welcome to Conference Alignment, our conference rankings and power rankings, part 2. As our preview, our run up to Nationals, we are so excited to have Grant Shipley back with us from the Chippewa Valley Hooligans. Grant was with us when we did this the first time. Thanks, Grant.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
These guys have been so psyched to have you on because you're the only person that roasts me as hard as I roast them. So
thank you, Grant. Thank you. On behalf of everybody, on behalf of Alex and I, thank you for coming on.
I'm more than happy to roast Bill.
Yes. I've been waiting for this.
I spent Saturday with Grant, which for those of you watching, as we record this, was like 3 days ago. And I got a little juicy tidbit on Grant. So if he's not careful today, I do have some things I can say to a national audience that he maybe doesn't want me to say. So he's thinking right now. He's thinking about it. Anyway, we're not here to do that. We are here to rank some teams, and I'm super excited. I think we got some drama today as we have these rankings a little different than we did a few months ago and very different from each other. So should we start with Founders?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Yep,
right.
Let's do it.
This one got clearer for me as we had some results. This is what I was hoping all the conferences would be, because as I see some game results from Founders, I feel better about being able to rank them, and I feel pretty good about my rankings. What I see really is 3 or 4 teams at the top, some gray in the middle, and then a few teams at the bottom that we're all kind of agreed on. But where do you guys want to start here with Founders Conference?
I mean, we could start from the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of work our way up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're all pretty much in agreement. We see some combination of RHI Inferno, Turnstone Furious Flyers, and North Texas towards the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets a little. So all 3 of you guys, Nikki, Josh, and Alex, have Ability 360 United in 10th. I've got them in 5th. I have them ranked in 5th just based on what is my computer doing? That's weird. Okay, forget that.
Wow.
You guys have Ability 360 United. All you guys have them in 10th. I have a team that lost by only 3 to Colorado Rapids, a team that lost by only 2 to Rose City, and a team that tied Minnesota United. Why do you guys have United so low?
I only have them that low only because there's so many great teams out there. It's not a knock on their ability. It's just how crowded and how cream of the crop the Founders Conference is.
So do you, Josh, see them losing to teams like Thundercats, Cruisers, Chargers, Vipers?
I mean, it's hard for me to say because a lot of these teams are from the East Coast. So it's hard for me to get a real feel for it. I think that's more of a Nikki and Alex kind of question and Grant question because I'm solely on the West Coast side. So, but based on because Ability 360's got a great team, they're a young team. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they prove me wrong in this upcoming Nationals.
Yeah, I think I have them there. I would have to go back and look at the goals for. I can't remember if they struggled a little bit to score some goals. They look like they're doing better this year, though. And then there's a chunk of East Coast teams that I think are good, and just the overall Northeast in general is a pretty solid group of teams. So when I look at the margins of, like you said, Commonwealth, the Thundercats, some of these other teams versus some of the bigger teams, CNY, you know, NEP, all that. I feel like they're a little bit tougher games. I could be wrong, but again, I think we touched on this in the last segment with Premier and Champions, where you don't know what you're going to get. It could be, it's like the ACC versus the Pac-12. You have no idea how this is going to shake out every single year. So could they move up? Yeah, sure. Of course they could.
Yeah.
I just felt like, again, the margins are kind of thin here in the Founders Cup.
They are.
And
Yeah.
it could go either way, but that's why I think I got them where they are.
That's fair. And to your point, like NEP Thundercats, Commonwealth Cruisers, Vermont Chargers, like those teams are just trading games with each other. I mean, I had a really hard time ranking those teams. I mean, if you look at their records, like they're against each other and they're really close games, and there's teams that, you know, we beat this team, we tied this team, we lost this team, you know, like they're all out there playing each other, and they were really hard to rank for me. And for you guys too, I assume, looking at this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the Ability 360 schedule right now. I don't know how up to date this the website is, but they only play a game from January to February, sorry. And yeah, they lost to, like, you know, the Renegades, the Colorado Rolling Rapids, but like they beat the Shockers. They lost to Canada 1 and 2.
Yeah, but those margins were tight. I'm just giving you a
Right,
little
exactly.
brief here
Yeah,
as we
exactly.
start the show, because I see Ability 360 United as a team that could surprise people, I guess. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just ribbing you guys a little about
No,
it.
but you know, you brought up a good point, because I totally forgot that Kyle Colton was on the team. Now, Kyle Colton used to play, I believe he played for LA at one point, but he also played for the, did he play for the Ducks at one point? Maybe I'm wrong. But all I know is that he's a very good player and very capable of leading a young team, young in the sense of age and experience. So I wouldn't be surprised if they prove me wrong. Kyle, prove me wrong, please.
I'm just generally unfamiliar with a lot of the Founders teams, and I don't know how to use the computer, so I couldn't find all the game stats. So I based most of my Founders rankings on like where team standings were, which didn't show like individual games because I don't know where to find that.
We'll prepare Nikki better the next time we do this.
So I generally only know like 3 of the teams in this bracket.
Nice. Grant, what about you? Do you have anything you want to say about the 3 teams?
I'm on the same boat with Nikki. I don't actually really know many of these teams.
You guys are killing me.
Right.
It's not my conference. I don't.
Bill, you didn't pay him enough to be on the show
Yeah, we're
today.
gonna vet our guests better for the next episode, obviously.
Josh, do you think?
I think as you move higher up the list, you know, some of these teams become a little more familiar.
Yeah, for sure.
Why don't we talk about really? I mean, so there's 4 teams that we seem to mostly agree and all have in the top 5. That's Motor City Eagles, Mary Free Bet Overdrive, Rose City Renegades, and the Colorado Rolling Rapids. Those we seem to have ranked up here. In our composite rankings, Mary Free Bet Overdrive took the win. Rose City and Colorado Rapids were tied for 2nd, and then in 4th, Motor City. But Alex has Motor City picked to win.
Wow.
I got your back, Motor City. I'll see you at Nationals. They're my number 1 fan right now, I bet you, because I'm the only one shouting them out. So They're very capable. I think they're very capable. They've proven that they can beat some of these other tough teams, the Founders. They've beaten Mary Freebed. I think they're in Rose City. As much as I like Rose City, their defense scares me a little bit. And I think that's why I dropped them down. If they tighten it back up before Nationals, it could be a different story. But I give the edge to Motor City because they've proven that they can compete with the top of the conference, and I think they're a very capable squad. So, yeah.
You're not the only one. I'm a Motor City Eagles fan also. We played them last season, and they were a very tough team. I don't know what they look like this season, but I'm sure they've only improved since then.
Yeah.
Alex got them in first. Nikki's got them in second. I have them in fourth. Looks like Josh has them the lowest in eighth.
And I'm also the highest on Colorado.
Sorry.
I'm a big fan of this team.
You're not the highest on Colorado. I got them in number one, Alex. So we're
what is that? Let me see.
All I can say is that
Nikki. There he is, number one. Yeah, you're right.
All four of us have 4 different winners in this Founders Conference. That has not happened before.
We've never done that in any of our shows. We've never all had a different one.
So this is going to be interesting.
I'm still going to shout out Colorado, though, because I watched some film against Rose City and them, and I was like, first of all, I don't even know the one person's name, but he was smashing the ball.
Yeah.
And they look like they can move the ball pretty good. And
you talk about the Arizona tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of any team that can get that ball moving side to side. And it looks like they're organized in that fashion. So whatever they're doing out there, they're doing a good job. So I'm also very high on them.
I agree. I see them beating teams like Mary Freebed and Motor City. I have Rose City ranked below them. I think those are the 4 teams we each have picked to go number one, and I have Colorado at the top, just kind of based on what I saw at that Arizona tournament too, Alex.
Yeah. I have Rose City Renegades at number 1, because, like Alex was saying, he was kind of scared of their defense. I can say wholeheartedly that their defense has gotten better. Because we just played them earlier last month, and they're a good team on the rise. And I mean, they took 4th place in their national debut last season. So I have very high hopes for that team. Enoch is killing it. Ren is killing it. Cass, Alex. That's a very good squad. So please prove me right. Please prove me right.
Yeah.
I'll be your biggest fan on the sideline, even though I'm small in stature.
He's got a lot of heart.
Exactly. It's all about the heart. Exactly. Hopefully I can call you a game. I love that. That'd be fun.
Nikki, we haven't talked much about Central VA Vipers. They kind of hang around the middle for all of us. You see them a lot being their closest neighbors, I think, in Virginia. What of the Central Valley Vipers this year? I
mean, they look a lot different from last season. Like, they've got a lot of new players, and I know we talked about earlier, they've been kind of winning by smaller margins against other teams. So it'll be, surprising to see where they place.
Okay. Grant, have you seen many of these teams this year in Founders? Not a lot of them are in our neck of the woods.
No, I honestly don't think I've seen any of these teams.
Okay. We usually run into like Furious Flyers or Inferno. You haven't seen them this year, huh?
Yeah, that's about it, actually.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, we'll get you in the next conversation with your conference here. All 4 of you guys are in the next conference.
Oh, I know. It's gonna be great. I'm looking at the Vipers' schedule of this season, and they had a couple of close games, especially against CNY United. They lost 4-0 to them, and that's no joke right there. So
we pretty much all have CNY United picked to win I shouldn't say that. We all have
Yeah.
CNY United in the top 3 of presidents.
Of the next
or, excuse me,
conference.
champions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But CNY United. I mean, they had a rough go this season, that's for sure. Vipers. Vipers had a rough season. But that's not to say that they could turn it around. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think anything can happen once you get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And again, you it's like an NCAA tournament style. You get one game. You could be the best team all year. You get one game, and it's elimination style. I mean, like you got the group stage, but I mean, I'm talking quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. Everybody has a chance at that point. So
yeah,
you just got to go. You catch fire. Next thing you know, you're in the championship game, and you're moving up. So
for sure. Well, if nobody else has anything to add on the Founders Conference, we'll put those rankings up here on the screen so that our viewers at home can see them.
All right. If anyone does not have anything else to add to the Founders Conference, we are going to move on to the President's Conference because this is going to get real interesting here because we have similar winners, but this was a tight one for us. Very tight. So, I don't know, Alex, you want to take it away on this one?
I have to take a look here really quick, but what do we got?
Well,
everybody has Lakeshore.
Yep.
Hot Shots. Chippewa's name is in there. Grant, if you want to chime in on your team.
Disgraceful.
Yeah, which part is disgraceful?
You know what?
Yeah.
I think the first thing I take away from all this is there's a lot of movement in this conference, and there is differences of opinion here, which tells me, again, that it's a razor-thin margin. So I think as much fun as Founders is going to be, I think Presidents is going to be a lot of fun too, and all 4 conferences in general. So it's just going to be – there's going to be a lot of good power soccer. That's all I know. So anybody have any thoughts on,
Well, I want to back up. I want to back up and ask Grant here because he said disgraceful.
Yeah, what does he mean by that?
And I want to know if it's disgraceful where we have him ranked or if he's calling his own team disgraceful. I want to know, Grant.
Where Alex has me ranked.
Okay. So
just me? Let's see.
You don't want to know where I ranked you.
I'll just prove you guys right.
I got you higher than Justin.
Hey! Do not put me on the spot here.
Trust me, I see where he has me.
So we have Chippewa Valley. Let's just frame this for our listeners. We have Chippewa Valley Hooligans. I have them in 9th. Alex has them in 10th. Josh has them in 11th. And Nikki has them in 9th. I had the pleasure of getting together with your team this past Saturday, Grant, in real time, and we had a little scrimmage. My non-conference team, the Wisconsin Whitetails, and your team, the Hooligans. I was actually very, I don't want to say impressed because I've always known what you guys are capable of, but I think you guys, and you especially, Grant, have adjusted to your roster changes, right? Like, because you don't necessarily have a second forward that is maybe at your experience level, you guys have kind of reset to a ball carrier situation, much like my Warriors used to use in the early days, where you're sort of feeding from the point more than anything else. And I think in a conference like this, that might get you further than we think.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
Yeah. That is the hope.
Yeah. I mean, from an outside view, when I look at Chippewa, I mean, the first player I think of is Grant, right? You have to get the ball past Grant to be able to do anything. Grant's a very capable player, very good, very smart. So I guess, I mean, besides Jason and Julie, I really am unsure of like your wing play this year of who's there. So I think a lot of the load is going to be on you. But yeah, go ahead and jump in.
Our main wing, actually kicker, is Amanda.
Okay.
Amanda White. And and this is what I want to say it's her 3rd year playing. And her kicks have gotten way more accurate, way more powerful. She's improved a lot. So if she can stay consistent, get it to where I can hit it, get an open shot, I think we should be decently well off.
Well, and she's definitely, like, I saw Amanda this past weekend, who's definitely got like a better knowledge of the game now than she had, 2 seasons ago when I saw her last.
Yeah. Well,
so I mean, as far as a winger, she's much more capable now than where you guys had her before, I think.
Yeah. So Grant, I mean, like, well, I was just gonna say, so you see some of these teams up here, like Minnesota. So I mean, you're familiar with the conference because you were in the conference last year. Where do you see yourself, your guys' team, with this?
I personally still see us around that 9, 10, 8-ish.
Okay. Yeah.
Level. Mm-hmm. 11's crazy, Josh. I don't know what.
Okay, can I give an answer on that one?
Go for it.
Okay, I will go for it. So when I played you guys 2 years ago, you guys were my favorite team to play against. Not because I don't think we beat you. I think we tied 1-1 in our 2 matchups. I can't remember, but I remember having a lot of fun playing against you guys. Because you guys are a good team and fun team to play with. I put you guys at 11 only because this conference is so tight on talent and teams, and so it's like I was like, what am I gonna put Triple at? Like, I want to put him higher, but like, it's just like it was really hard for me to. I think this might have been my hardest conference to line up on to rank. Sure. Yeah, so I firmly believe that you guys are gonna prove me wrong, especially now that I know about just Amanda Gal and you and. So I'm excited. And you play against Minnesota all the time. So that can only make you better.
I had a hard time, Grant, because like Josh has you below teams like LA Angels and Hot Shots. I see you beating teams like that. I had a really hard time because I have you in 9th, but I actually, as recently as this morning, had you in 7th because I want to see what you guys do against teams like Phoenix Rising and Arizona Heat. I have no idea. Those are a couple of like West region teams that I haven't seen. I can look at their results online and I can watch the game film that's out there. But after seeing you guys Saturday, I think that it will be exciting for me to see like you against those Arizona teams, against teams like Chico, Houston Fireballs. I mean, I think you compete against teams like that. So you say you're 9th and 10th. I don't necessarily disagree, but I also think that you're right there in the middle of the pack with some of these teams I don't know a lot about.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you played Arizona at Nationals last year, right? The Phoenix Rising.
Correct. And we lost.
Did you, or did you tie them? You lost 1-0?
No. We lost 2. We lost 2-1.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that was close game.
And wasn't it just a couple years ago, or maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago, you had that marathon game against Heat? Wasn't
126 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that Heat?
It was the Heat.
So I mean, I don't know. That's my point. I guess my prolonged point on Hooligans is that I think on the right day in the right situation, you guys are very, middle of the pack here for me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Chippewa, they're a good team. They're a good team.
Yeah, I mean,
I wholeheartedly believe they're gonna beat my ranking.
Yeah,
gonna try.
No.
Any thoughts on?
No trying.
Any thoughts on that, Nikki? Middle of the pack, anybody?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like Josh said, everyone is pretty close, so I think it could go anyway, just depending on like the time of the day that games are, how many games you've already had that day, can really make a big difference.
Yeah.
I know that just specifically one team that you guys have kind of mentioned, like stats on in recent tournaments is Borp Shockers, and it sounds like they have really made a comeback this season.
I was just about to bring them up.
Some other teams.
Yeah, that's a team, and I was going to bring them up too, Josh, and I'll serve it up for you because some teams that have really jumped since we did these rankings back whenever we did them.
Yeah.
Borp Shockers, we have in a composite ranking at 5, our collective ranking at 5. Houston Fireballs collectively ranked at 4. And then I'm going to get to this one with my buddy Alex over here. But Minnesota United comprehensively ranked at 3. So talk to us about Borp Shockers, Josh, and how they went from pretty low in all of our rankings to 5th across the board now.
So I really hate to admit this, but like I had the Shockers at number 12 back in January. That's not to say, they're not good. It's they're a good team. But in the last 4 months, they have improved immensely because they changed the way they play. I'm not going to give it away because they will kill me if I say anything. But they kind of changed the way they play now, and they kind of moved some players around too. But they also got a new player. I don't know if she's coming to Nationals. I assume she is. Her name is Brittany, I believe. She's a stone cold killer. She's got really good instincts, and it's a husband and fiance couple, engaged couple playing on that team now. So I'm drawing a blank on his name, but Brittany and this guy, they're a really good asset, and they're just watch out, world. I think the Shockers are gonna make some noise.
Shockers gonna shock.
The Shockers are gonna shock. Exactly. Yeah. They are gonna shock the world. I will put my money on that.
Brittany and this guy.
Yes.
Brittany and this guy.
Let me get back on the name.
Brittany and her guy friend.
He played before for years, and then he took a long sabbatical from Power Soccer.
3 in the Box would like to personally apologize to Brittany and this guy.
I am so sorry. Give me an uno momento, please. Come on, hold on. I almost have it. Give me a second here. Lateef McLeod. There you go. Lateef, I am so sorry. Please accept my apology.
Josh will be at Nationals at the 3 in the Box booth if you want to come talk to him.
We'll point it out to you.
Yeah, we are. We're actually gonna play them. We're playing them this weekend. So we're gonna play them for 2 games, and we're playing 1 game against the Bombers, the recreational team. So that can be fun for them. And then we're gonna.
That'll be a good tune-up.
What? Yeah, it'll be a good tune-up, and then we're actually inviting them up to Chico. So they're 2.5 hours away. So it'll be a month before this weekend, and then so we're gonna play at June 7th, just unsanctioned, glorified scrimmage practice. So we can help each other out before we head to Nationals, even though we are potentially going to play against each other at Nationals. But it'll be fun. We're excited.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'd like to, just to jump in with Borp here. Last year, I believe they finished 9th, right?
I couldn't tell you.
Guys, did they play you guys, Grant, in the final game? And then I was kind of surprised that they were in that game to begin with because I thought they were tough. Like when we played them at Nationals, it was 1-1 going into half, and I thought the game could go either way. And then it just didn't materialize for them last year, but I think they're a very capable squad. And then, as you say, if they're adding some pieces, that only makes them stronger. So, I think 5th, 4th, somewhere in there is appropriate for them.
Yep. I agree. They're gonna be a good team. I'm very excited to see how they do. Very excited.
Before I start a fight with Alex,
oh boy,
I want to hear Josh talk about the Chico Gophers.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about my own team.
Well, okay, then let me talk about him for a second. Because when we ranked him back in January or whenever this was.
Yeah.
We had them ranked. I had them in 5th. Alex had them in 3rd, and you had them in 3rd, Josh.
Yes.
Today, we have them in our comprehensive rankings at 7. I am at 6, Alex at 9, Nikki at 8. Why do you think, Josh, as I assume the team captain, at least the team runner for that team?
Whatever I am. We don't have labels.
Talk to us a little bit about your season and how it's gone. And I just want to hear your perspective on where you guys are at right now.
Yeah. So we're a fresh team. We have a lot of veterans on our team, but we also have a lot of rookies on our team too. So we have one rookie that could be coming with us. She's gonna make her national debut, Natty. She's a really good player. She got great instincts. We played a lot of good teams in California, so I think I mentioned it on this podcast in one of our earlier episodes. We played the Flash in our very first game, and I think we lost to them like 7-1 or something like that. The next time we saw them again, like 2 months later, we lost to them 3-0. So go from 7-1 to 3-0. That's a huge win in my book. And so we were happy with our result. We didn't win, but we don't care. We just wanted to put up a fight. And we could have scored a couple goals, but we just missed a couple opportunities. The Gophers, it will remain to be seen on how we do, but I'm not gonna pat myself on the back here, but I'm hoping we do some damage. We'll see how we do. I mean, this is a very crowded conference, so I don't know where we're gonna rank, but we're doing everything we can to train properly with everybody's capabilities on every team's in mind to see what we're just trying to be prepared on what's going to be thrown at us.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's tough, Josh, when I was ranking these teams, and I don't know about Josh and Nikki, Alex and Nikki, but, I think for me, and you mentioned this earlier when we were giving you a hard time about Chippewa, it's hard because now I've seen some of these teams play really well, play higher than I thought. And so it's really easy to be like, oh, look, Forbes Shockers have really impressed me. Houston Fireballs have really impressed me this season. So I ranked those teams over y'all and Chico just based on some of the results that I've seen in terms of record. But there's nothing better than hearing from you, right, about how your team is playing and how you guys feel going in. Because I think that has, and we talk about this on the next segment with Peyton that already happened, but it's really about the mindset you go in with. And Alex has mentioned this a lot of times, what you do on the day of, right, matters so much. And so it's all about, if you guys are showing up going, look, we had a great season. We're feeling good about where we are. We played better against one team later in the season than we had earlier in the season. That makes all the difference, right? And so I just wanted to hear you talk about that a little bit. So I appreciate that.
No, of course. Yeah, we're happy that we finished the season strong, and I think we won 3 or 4 games throughout the season, so we're happy with the result. And we're just gonna get better from here. So, what is happening for all of our listeners that can't see this? Bill Schultz had put on an MN hat. Please tell us what's going on here.
Nothing. I'm just getting ready for the next topic.
Okay. All right, I see how it is.
He's riding with Minnesota
for a conversation about the Minnesota United.
Oh.
Comprehensively, we have them in 3rd. I have them ranked 2nd. Josh has them ranked 3rd. Nikki has them ranked 3rd. Alex, where do you have the Minnesota United ranked?
Wow, Alex, what is going on here?
Where do I have them?
What do you have? You have them in 8th.
I have them in 8th. I do, and it's not a knock against it. Bill, Minnesota must be looking at me because every time, because Bill ranks them really high.
Yep.
So I'll say a couple things about Minnesota. I think they're a great squad. I think they're up and coming. I do think they have a little ways to go before they're tops of the conference. A little bit more developing. We played them straight up last year. We probably played one of our best games of the season against them. I think they're a quality squad, and if they do move up, I wouldn't be too shocked. Because again, they're doing a lot of great things up there, and I love how they're putting their program together. I think that's something that, even though we're going through all these rankings and whatnot, I don't think we mentioned this enough, is how great some of these teams are putting their programs together and doing it the right way. And I think Minnesota is one of those programs that's doing it the right way. So, beyond that, I just think they're half a step. Just they're there, but they're just, to me, they're just a little bit more development, and they're going to be on their way. So,
and I just like to give Alex a really hard time about things, right? I really do think Minnesota United has taken a big step, and I do see them in the top 3 of this conference. That's a fact. Also, just being in their region, Grant and I, we run into these guys. We've been playing them for years. We see them all the time. They're good friends. I like to support them. But everything Alex just said is spot on, and the reason that I'm so high on them, same reason I was high on them in January. What they're doing with that program, right? What like Katie and Daniel and their staff is doing, what Courage is doing, what their leaders are doing. I can't say enough about D and the things that D is doing, just like on the court and off the court as a team leader. Like that program is coming together in a way that I'm just frankly even jealous of, right? Or like in envy of. And like, I think we have to call those things out and talk about programs that are doing awesome, especially like Josh and I are both in positions where we're trying to build new programs. Minnesota United is a program to look at and say, okay, that is something that we can build towards and strive towards and model ourselves after. So I just want to give them some love and pick on Alex a little bit. But I do think that they're going to be super high in this conference.
I put them up pretty high with the consideration of like one, Deandra Bardell. She's in her strike force chair for the second or third year. And she was phenomenal before the strike force chair. And Nikki can vouch for that. And but also the crowd support at Nationals is huge. It plays a huge factor. That's a huge factor. And so that's why I put them up so high. Because of the support that they have, the family and the friends, and all the swag that they have. They got noisemakers, they got flags, they got banners, they got scarves, they got everything. So I put them very high because part of that reason is the support that they get.
Yeah.
Nikki, did you have something to say about Bardell?
No, I was just agreeing with what you said. I think their team overall is kind of intense, but D really adds to that, and they're forced to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Grant, you played these guys. Yeah. For years.
I honestly would have them 3 or 2. That's how good they are. They're consistent. They beat on us this year multiple times. I mean, they're a good team. D, great leader on the court. Yeah. Their coaches, all 20 of them, however many there are, 4.
They do have a lot of coaches. Yeah.
Do they really?
There's like 4 of them.
It seems like it. I don't know.
I think there's 4. They're all really good. Joe has improved a lot.
Yeah.
I can see them in the 3 spot for sure.
They got 5 coaches on this team, 4 coaches and a team manager.
Well, and they just have a really good program. They also have the support of Minnesota United's professional, able-bodied team, which makes a huge difference. I mean, I think the way they've built around Courage Center and the way they've built around Minnesota United and their partnerships with other organizations in that community, like they certainly have some things going for them that we can't all even hope for, but they are just doing a really great job. Like Katie at the top of that coaching staff, D for me, like has solidified herself as a leader for the young players on that team. I mean, I can't say enough good things about them. They played. We talked about Northern Lights, or I guess we talk about them in the next segment, listeners.
Yeah, we do.
But that's a team we go into a lot in the next segment. They beat them once, most recently beat them 3-1. They had a loss to them by a goal. They had a tie to them earlier in the season. It's a team that I see getting better. It's a team that lost to Canada by only 2 goals, and a team that lost to LA Galaxy, a team that I have in the top 4 of the Premier Conference. They lost by only 3 goals in that game.
That's impressive.
Just something that like, and Grant spoke to it a little bit, like we've just seen them grow over the years, and I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for teams like y'all.
Right. And you also can't forget about Joe Boybloom on that team too.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 15 points on his season. So if the website's up to date, he's got 7 goals, 8 assists. So he could have played a vital role into the success of the national run for the team. So
For sure.
we'll see how it goes.
And before we jump into the top 3, 4 teams, I want to backtrack just a little bit on this list. I think 2 teams that are sneaky good that everybody needs to look out for is the Houston Fireballs and Ability 360 Rising. Because, and I guess we can start with Houston. I thought they had a phenomenal run last year. They had an unfortunate speed test in one of their games. They beat Minnesota, but then they forfeited. So that moved them down.
No.
So, and then I can't remember what happened after that, but it was just like one bad thing after another was happening to them. But they're a very, very quality club.
Yep.
We had a very hard time against them last year. Jackson, what's his last name?
I'm looking right now. Jackson Long.
Yeah, Jackson Long is a phenomenal player. Very underrated in our league. He is the on the court leader for sure.
Yep.
I think they're developing a few players, and I think they're tough because they play straps pretty good. I know that's a familiarity thing, but at the same time, if you're beating them, tying them, barely losing to them, that tells me that you're a quality club. So
I mean, you play up the Strap Scorpions. They beat them 8-2, and then lost to them the next game 2-1. So it's like the whole familiarity thing.
Sure, but I think some of that has to do. They're splitting squads too.
Oh, okay.
Some of it might be A squad, B squad stuff.
Got it. Okay.
In general, the very close games, you got A squad versus A squad. So and they're right there. And I think we're all pretty high on straps. So that just tells me that the caliber of Houston is that good too. So
What are you guys?
Touch on Houston.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I agree, and I'm glad you brought them up because I think they're really close contenders to like the top 3 teams that we have ranked as well. And I remember watching.
I agree. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think my internet went out. I remember watching like one of the first games at Nationals last year, Barracudas versus Fireballs, and that game was a nail biter. I was watching it while I was on the way to Nationals. I wasn't there yet, and I just remember like on the edge of my seat, wondering who was going to win that game. And I've heard that they have just been putting in more work this season and practicing more.
And I feel like they're very under the radar. Nobody's really talking about them. There's no film on them. I already checked. Trust me.
Oh, you did.
But knows these things.
But they're a quality squad, and they're gonna make a run. They have all the capability, just like a lot of these squads do. I'm very high on Houston.
I mean, the goal leader, Lado, I might be pronouncing it wrong, name wrong, Lado, Rado, and Ev, 14 goals.
Oh, yeah, his stats are ridiculous.
Wow.
I remember that name.
Yeah.
He's only been playing a couple years, so...
That's amazing. Didn't he have like a 5-goal weekend or something?
He had like a 7-goal game or something. Don't quote me on that, but it was something like that. It was just insane, like a 7-point game.
It was like 2 months ago, right?
Yeah, it was on I want to say it was on our March episode. We talked about
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a team we have comprehensive rankings. We have this team ranked 4th behind only Minnesota United, Tidewater, and Brooks Barracudas. So that's they've been doing some work.
Yeah.
And then the other team, Ability 360. I mean, Tony Jackson is a wild card at all times. You never know what he's going to do. He will spin the ball from 3/4 court and score on you. He's proven it over and over. And they added a piece this year. One of their leading goal scorers, I know Devin talks to him, Kai
Rivas. Yeah.
And he looks like he's a solid player. So they added pieces from last year, and they finished 5th overall. And they were in the stronger of the two groups because the top 3 teams on your side, Grant, the top 3 teams advanced to the champions. So, yeah, I mean, you got any insight on that group right there? Like you, ability.
No, not really.
Well, you played against.
But I mean, it was a
Tony,
tough battle, wasn't it? Wasn't it a tough battle?
If I remember correctly, that was the game we were up 1-0 like the whole game, and out of nowhere, Tony hits, 3/4 court shot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Wait, he scored? And then and then they scored a last second one that was just bang bang, and it ended horribly. But we got one right off the bat, 5-10 minutes into the game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then it was like the very start of the half. He scored, and I'm like, shoot.
It's gonna be a long day. And we couldn't
get anything going the rest of that game, and it was just.
So but they can flip the script on you that fast. I mean, that's what I think Alex's point is just that like Tony can open up, it can destroy a 1 or 2 goal lead in about a half a second if you're not paying attention.
Right. They can put up offense, and in the quarterfinal, they were beating us 2-1 at one point. So we came back and won that one, but they were up on us. So they can score. That's for sure.
Might I say something about Kai on Ability 360 Rising? I went to like this UASA event back in the fall to help train the Renegades and some of the Ability Phoenix players that came up. Kai was one of them, and I was watching him play. I was like, this kid's got something. Like he's got some untapped potential here. So I was watching him. We were training together. I would teach him a few tricks, and I was like, this guy is he's gonna be something. So I'm excited to see him play at Nationals. I've yet to watch him play at Nationals, so I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the team, and see what Tony can do to help make the team make strides in the national.
It gives them an extra weapon, and we haven't even mentioned Evan Paul.
Yeah.
So like,
exactly, and that too. Yeah.
They're very solid. So
very solid. So I'm excited.
Yep. Cool. Well, guys, we better move on and talk about the tops of this conference. I know that Nikki and Alex have been putting this off, but here we are. It's time.
Can we start with Nikki? Like, Nikki, can you tell us how you rank this 1, 2, 3? Can you just roll through your rankings?
Was I supposed to put myself at the top? Is that what everyone expected?
I mean, hey,
it's not. It doesn't make me feel great that I have you at the top, and yet, as like the leader of that team, you have yourself second. Like it didn't make me feel great about where I have you.
So, I mostly based it off of our last tournament when we played the Barracudas a week ago, and I mean, again, like I said earlier, it just depends on like what time of day we end up playing each other at nationals, and who is playing. Because I mean, we're bringing 8 people on our team, and I don't know how many.
8 to nationals.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, we're bringing 7, so.
So I really think it just depends on a lot of factors. It really could go either way because we're just such close competition. Like the last couple of times we played each other, it was 4-3, 1-0, and like every time we play, like I don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah, it's definitely very, there's a little flavor in those games. There's a little.
A little flavor.
Yeah, I think everybody's playing at a high level. Huh?
A little spicy seasoning.
That's right. I think, it's always a battle. The only thing I would say is hopefully whoever picks these games for court one, I'm telling you, you need to put Brooks and Tidewater court one, so everybody can watch that.
Oh, how convenient
I'm
for
just
you.
throwing it out there. Just an
That's a
idea.
good idea.
Yeah.
I would like to be upstairs with a microphone on. for
Oh,
that game.
I want to be upstairs with the microphone.
Me and Josh will call that game.
Yeah, I'll do it with Tony. I'll
so-
do it with Bill. I'll do it with anybody.
I feel you're like anybody with Bill.
His first choice was Tony, though.
Yeah, his first choice was
Not you.
obviously Tony. And if he
Tony,
had
I
to
love
do
you.
it,
I love you,
still-
Tony.
He still wants to
That's
do it,
awesome.
but not as much. Yeah, I get it. It's fine. It's fine. I spend a lot of time giving Josh a hard time. But I guess, I get it because you guys have, Tidewater Brooks back and forth for years.
Yeah.
There's history because Alex and Devin were with Tidewater. I get it. But, if we're going to look at these, objectively and we're going to talk about these teams, I'm always I'm convinced Tidewater can do it on any given Sunday. I'm confident that, Nikki keeps talking about time of day. If you guys play at 9 a.m., I'm waking you up at 4, Nikki, and I'm pouring caffeine down your throat because I just think that to me is not a reason to lose. And I will be very happy for whichever one of you wins and very happy that you both make it if you make it. But
Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
need to add something real quick. This plays a major role for me. Okay, I have the Brooks Barracuda winning this thing. But Nikki, I will change my vote if you only get a Tupac this. I will change my vote. Are you Tupacing this?
Of course you are.
Absolutely.
Okay, then there you go.
I never
Tidewater's
showed
winning
up to
it
a
all.
game without it.
Yeah, well,
Can you
as
explain
shocked
to
as
people
I
who
was,
don't know what you're talking about?
Nikki
go
got
ahead.
this signature look. She wears this bandana and got the bow at the very top and then got this very Tupac look. And I don't know if anyone, listeners or viewers, know who Tupac is. Rapper from the 90s. He got that signature look. I hope they
Am I
know,
that
but
old that people don't know who Tupac is?
hey, we got some kids
I do.
listening to this.
he's been
Okay,
gone
You
for a
don't know
while.
who Tupac
He's been
is.
gone for a long time.
If you don't know who
Like 30
Tupac is,
years.
and if you're under the age of 17, maybe
Yes.
check for the clean version.
Yep.
But if you don't know who Tupac is, you need to get your Spotify open and go find out
Yeah.
right now.
And find a picture of him because he wears the
But you
bandana.
guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's,
There's a tournament we went to that Alex and I listened, and Devin listened to Tupac on the way.
Absolutely. I still listen to him. So
who doesn't? What about you, Grant? You
Anyways.
listen to Tupac?
Apparently, all our listeners don't.
I think we. can
Grant, what
move
about
on.
you? Do you listen to Tupac?
No, but I know who Tupac Shakur is.
Okay, good.
he's not in your warm up lineup for before games. No.
No, not really.
I'm imagining Grant's playlist to be a lot of tractor songs. Are there tractor songs in your playlist?
You had to get the dig in, didn't you?
Men in flannel shirts
Oh
singing
my
about their
gosh.
truck. Is that what you're listening to up there?
I don't like country.
Oh,
Hey,
well,
oh,
hey,
wow.
I got you
Oh.
incorrectly pegged. Then good for you. Nothing wrong with country music. when
Nope,
it's done
nothing
right.
wrong with country.
Anyway, Alex, were you gonna make a point about Tidewater Brooks?
Well, I was gonna transition over. As shocked as I was that Nikki put Brooks number 1 and then Tidewater, I was more surprised with Bill's picks, where he's got Tidewater 1, Minnesota 2, Brooks 3.
I'm a little shocked too.
I'd
I
love
want
to
all the
hear
smoke.
Bill's perspective on this.
I want all the smoke.
Oh, you're getting the smoke. Tell us.
It no hyperbole here whatsoever. For me, it's I believe in Minnesota United. I've already talked about that.
Yep.
Tidewater for me, besides their captain's unsuredness here that I don't love about time of day and things. I just see consistency from them and the ability to win at any point. I see them, losing to teams that I think they should beat, but I also see them beating teams that I think that on paper they should maybe not beat. So I believe in the Tidewater Piranhas. I believe in my friend Nikki. I think that if they show up with the intensity and the intent to win, that will happen. I talk about this in the next segment that we already shot with Peyton, but so much of my pick here just came down to who has shown me and who still needs to show me. Brooks, for me, I'm just not as familiar with when I look at their results. When I look at your results, Alex, I see some really big wins and I see some losses that I think you should have won. I believe that you know that. And I believe as a coach, you're doing everything you can, more than probably anybody I know in this league, working your butt off and spending the time making sure that the right things happen at nationals at the right time. So it's just a show me thing. Like if Brooks wins this, I'm not surprised. If Brooks is there above Minnesota United, I'm not surprised. I fully believe, and I talked about this before we started recording today. Before we hit record today, Alex is asking Josh, who are you bringing to nationals? What's that guy's number again? Oh yeah. Okay. This dude's doing work. This dude's doing work. And I know that his son is doing work as well. And I know that the rest of the team is reflecting it. So it's no knock on Brooks. I believe that Brooks can do it. I just haven't seen it from Brooks. I've seen it from Tidewater year in and year out. That's all.
Yeah. And you know, and I agree with that too. Like Alex, I know Alex is ripping his team, you know, hard, you know, training them hard this year because they started off really strong at nationals last year. And then I don't know what happened. They kind of this is Alex's word, not mine, but they fell off. They fell off in their playoff round, and I know Alex was not the happiest man on earth. So I know Alex is not going to let that happen again. So Devin, if you messed up, I know your dad's going to ground you. So that's on you, man.
You know, okay. Well, yes, I think that's funny. But here's the thing that I think people don't know about me is, for as intense as they see me out on the court, what they don't see is behind the scenes. You know, me loving on the player and me telling them, you know, this, that, this.
Oh, yeah.
We go out to eat together. We break bread together. We have a lot of laughs. If you see pictures or whatnot, everybody's smiling, having a good time.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm not shy to the fact that I coach pretty hard. I coach pretty hard, and I'm not, you know, I don't apologize for it, but I just, again, the drive is I'm trying to squeeze everything out of you because I think you have potential. So,
I mean, why should you not coach them hard?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, well, everybody has different styles, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, I just, you know, I maybe some of it has to do with the military background, you know, because I'm very regimented. So.
Yep, makes sense. So the moral of the story is, if guys listen to it, everybody is watching. If you want to get on Alex's good side, bring some crinkle cut fries for him. He will gladly eat it for you.
Whatever. They just give me crap because I'm on East Coast time. So every time I come in, like right before we start recording, I'm like stuffing my face so I can because if I don't now, you know, it's going on almost 8:30 Eastern time. So yeah.
There you go.
Gotta eat something. But where were we on all this?
Well, I think just to say that there are some really good quality teams at the top. In this conference, not just at the top, but across this conference. Brooks Barracudas and Tidewater Piranhas being, you know, what we all see as kind of like the top tier of this conference. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. You guys have certainly got history. This is the 2025 chapter, and I'm very invested in how this all plays out. And look at here's another 9 teams that are coming for you, right? Yeah. Because it doesn't. Just because we've said it doesn't mean it's a foregone conclusion. Both of y'all and Josh's team and Grant's team, everybody's got a ton of work to do in 5 weeks from the time this comes out, right?
And I you know, the other thing that we don't necessarily talk about all the time is every time we rank these teams, or every time we talk about our own teams or whatever, and we're saying, hey, we should be right up there at the top of the conference, that puts a target on us. So all these other teams are going to give them their absolute best. Like, okay, you guys think they're that good? Like, let's find out. So, I think it should be fun. There's every single conference has its own storyline, and I'm so interested to see how each conference plays out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So
yeah, I agree. Brad, do you have any last minute thoughts on this President's Conference?
He's saving it for the court.
It's gonna be fun. That's all I can say. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that has been our conversation about. I'm going to get this right this time. Founders and Presidents Conference.
Hey.
That only took me like 5 takes earlier in this segment, and Josh had to take it over. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. We are going to hop over to our next conversation with our buddy Peyton Sefick, who we're going to talk some champions and premier. Thanks, Grant, for joining us. You and I didn't get to spar as much this episode. I'm sure Alex and Josh are disappointed about that. You got any last second build digs you want to get in before we cut? This is your free shot.
No, I did enough of that this weekend.
All right, buddy. All right. Well, hey, and Nikki, we made your curfew, so here we go. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll catch you in the next segment.
Wait, little sneak peek. Hold on. We got a sneak peek. What's that shirt you're wearing, Bill?
I think we're going to talk a little more about this on the next segment, aren't we?
Ooh.
But I got some cool merch. We got some 3 in the Box shirts.
What?
I think by the time this episode comes out, the pre-order is over. But
look what I got.
And we got some stickers.
Yeah.
We will have these at Nationals, so come on out. We will have a booth at Nationals. We talk more about that in the next segment too. But you can chat with us, buy some merch, and just have an all-around good time at the 3 in the Box booth at Nationals. We'll see you there.
Right. Enjoy the next segment, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Grant, for joining us. Welcome back to 3 in the Box, powered by Power Soccer Shop. We are here with our old friend Peyton Sefick. What's up?
Hey!
Thanks for having me back, guys.
Welcome back.
For joining us again. Super stoked to have you here to talk some Champions and Premier Conference. We get to all take a really close look at what we did wrong 3 months ago. So this should be fun. Looking forward to it. How about we jump right in, you guys?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
So and we got Nikki. We got Nikki with us this time.
Oh, yeah, I guess we should.
Yeah.
Mention.
Hello, Nikki.
I was here last time too.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, well, I can't remember.
The whole time. Just hiding this whole time.
Behind the scenes.
We drug Nikki out of the protection of her camera off for this particular episode. Yep. She even created a power ranking with the 3 of us because I couldn't talk Peyton into doing one. So and it just occurs to me that we'll probably cut all this out because we're going to intro Nikki on the first segment, not this one.
There you go.
So.
That's very true. Oh, well.
All right. Okay. Well, let's jump right into talking about Champions Conference, guys. For me, we all said this back in February when we did the first rankings, but this was maybe the hardest conference I think we all agreed that this was a really tough one. And for me, it's one that I feel like changed a lot since then. What did you guys think going through it this time?
Oh, I totally agree. I definitely was shuffling it a lot more on this one than all the other conferences.
Yeah, same. I was shuffling it up to the final seconds when I hit send and send it to you guys.
Well, I had one of those moments where I sent it to him and I'm like, oh, maybe I should have flipped that person. I should have flipped that team. It's tough.
It's definitely looking different now that I get a chance to look through you guys' picks. It's definitely different vibes than it was at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Peyton got these about
Peyton
5
doesn't have
minutes
such
ago.
a gripe with me.
No. We settled that on the court. We're fine now.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, gosh. That's great.
Now, Peyton's team is showing a little bit better in this ranking.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Don't worry. I showed you some love. On this one.
We all show Peyton some love here. Well, all right. Well, let's start towards the bottom, and we're going to do this a little different than we did last time. We're not going to go through every single team by team, each person. We're going to show you our rankings, and we're just going to talk about them. But we did at the bottom all have Shepherd Strikers there, and that's a team that's just changed personnel a lot early this season. After that, it gets a little cloudy. I mean, and it was a little cloudy the first time, but the middle of this conference was very difficult for me. I could see, we're talking about Straps. We're talking about Aspo Force, DASA Cyclone, Chicago Fire, NEP Wildcats. Those teams for me, I must have shuffled them, I don't know, a dozen times, and I still am not married to how I have them. I think all these teams are really close in level.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
I think a lot of these teams, like you said, there's some roster shakeup through it. So it just kind of depends on which team shows up. And I don't mean like personnel wise. I mean, who's coming to play. I mean, tournaments are an interesting thing. If you have a great season and you have an off weekend going into a tournament, then that sucks. But some of these teams, they're young and they've been around for a little while, but they still have young players. And if they catch fire at the right time, I think we were talking about that last time. I see a few people that have NEP down the list and some people that have NEP closer to the top. I think that's one of those teams that if they hit at the right time, then they could do some damage for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say to your point about NEP, like looking at their results, like they've got, and I might even have this because I wrote some of this down. But NEP Wildcats have like teams where they've won games, they've tied games, they've dropped games to like the same teams. So and that can be said for ASPO, that can be said for DAS's Cyclones. Like these teams are playing games where we beat them once, we lost to them once, we tied them once. And it's like we're gonna see how that plays out on the biggest stage in our sport. It's any given Sunday, right? Like any given Nationals weekend, how are those games going to play out? And NEP was one of those teams. We all had bottom half, much like Peyton and his team. They gave us a little shade on social media, like, "Hey, I think you guys got us low," and now a bunch of them got us ranked. A bunch of us have them ranked higher, so they've proven that, right?
I think. Well, we've had the luxury of playing 6 out of the 10 champions teams this year, so getting a little bit of a glimpse into the competition. I have an idea in my mind of how I think a lot of them shape up. But again, I only get to see a couple of those teams once, like just one time. So my perspective is, how we played against them straight up. And we all know that different teams match up against different teams. And one day you can beat them, one day you might lose to them, and that can be said for the whole conference. I think the margin is razor thin for all these teams.
Yeah.
And again, I 100% agree with everybody. This was easily the toughest conference to rank.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I see Atlanta Sting down the line on all of yours, most of yours, and that's a team that tied my team, CNY United, and Auburn in the regular season. So talk about a team that can pop off at the right time.
Right.
That's a team that can do it. Beck has been playing out of his mind lately, and Taiwan Britton, he's an OG in power soccer. So he's been there, done that when it comes to it. So it'll be interesting to see how they do too.
I know we played Sting like this past weekend, and then we also played them in February, and they looked a lot different.
That's what I was just about to say.
Months.
Yeah.
Like they're looking better now, Nikki.
Their chemistry is way better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it just goes to show you, it's like you change your tactics from one tournament to another. It's like you're gonna play the same team again a couple months later. So obviously they're gonna know how you play. So change the tactics, see what works, what doesn't work. And, and like we said in this podcast throughout the whole season is just a giant tune-up leading up to nationals. And so you're trying to figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. Can I do this? Can I do that? Maybe not. Maybe yes. So, it's just, I think that's what's great that we have, we get to play 10 games minimum so that we get the repetition that we need. Because most times you're not even playing a team that's in your own conference. You might be playing teams that are much higher than you. So that gives you, it trains you to train even harder. Because I can speak for California, we have a lot of teams that are in a premier level, and we have to play them every tournament. And so for us, it's like, okay, we know we're going to lose. Let's have fun. Let's figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. And I think that's so valuable to play teams that are out of your conference.
You're always competing, though.
For sure.
The team's better than you. You're always you use the opportunity to get better. So
exactly, you give it your all.
Teams, they're just sharpening the lower teams. They're just making it better. So
iron sharpens iron. So
I do want to mention in this conference as we talk about this middle group, and I think all those points are spot on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do want to mention in this middle group, Chicago Fire. In early season, we all had them ranked across the board. Alex, Josh, and I had them ranked at the top. That is
Mm-hmm.
no longer the case. Josh has them the highest at 3. The rest of us, I think, all have them 4 or below. That's another team that, like, to Peyton's earlier point, like, which Chicago Fire shows up. Like, there
Right.
is an iteration of Chicago Fire with the weapons that they have. The Chicago Fire that we were talking about back in February that could show up to this tournament and say, okay, CNY, okay, Auburn, okay, Steamrollers, like, we're here. We got this together. To Josh's point, we've had all season to work this out. Now let's show you what we can do. And so, like, got a couple pals on that team. I want to see them do really well.
Right.
But I think for me, like, the X factors in this conference truly are Fire and Straps. Like, it depends which version of Fire and which versions of Straps show up. I feel like they could land top 4. They could land bottom 2. For me, they just got to get through these ASPO, Odessa Cyclones, NEP Wildcats. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
And the thing that we don't touch on, we don't know how the seeding is going to work out. Who's going to be in Group A? Who's going to be in Group B?
Right.
So that affects a lot of things. I think one of the X factors, we've already touched on it, would be NEP. I think CNY has their number for whatever reason, right? I think you guys have something figured out that some other teams don't have figured out, but that's good veteran presence on your team. And I would argue that NEP has a lot of depth, and you don't know which version is going to show up because they're a tough squad too. But I do have CNY higher because I think their experience level and their, I don't know if you want to say patience, is definitely, they methodically pick you apart versus NEP, they just want to run up and down. Like, they're just flying all over the place. They want to get after it. I think your style over there works for you guys, and it's paid off this season for sure.
Yeah, I think kind of to your point, like when NEP is playing us, it's almost like an intimidation factor that a player like me can bring to the table for a team of guys that have been together for a while, but they haven't necessarily cracked into that next level. And players playing against like Zach Dickey and I in Champions, we've been around the block. We've been there, done that, when it comes to club play with the USPSA. So us being in Champions tier is we can bring a certain level of intimidation factor that messes with teams a little bit because, especially when there's an inexperienced like coach or something that says like, keep it away from Zach, keep it away from Peyton. That's okay for us, for players like us, because we don't need to see the ball all the time to still affect the game.
Right.
So when teams, but on the flip side of that is last year, CNY United got knocked out in the knockout stages by ASPO Force because they rose to the challenge. They were coming up against me, and I was playing. I felt like I had a pretty good tournament last year. It was a different look with my squad. So I didn't have as many pieces as I do this year, and the development of my younger players has really come along as well. But they rose to the challenge. They were ready. They didn't get intimidated. They didn't back down. They pushed really hard at the end of the game, and that's what tipped the scales in the end. So to those teams that are kind of teetering on the edge, my encouragement is don't get intimidated. I know I'm playing against you, so maybe you should, but seriously, like, don't get intimidated. You go out there and play your game, because that's what I want. I want to play against the best. Like, I don't want to play against somebody that's going to roll over. I want to beat you when you're at your best. So that's what I'm looking for.
I think that's a good point. Also, like you said, not to be intimidated by just one person. You're playing a whole team. If you can you can easily beat the team that you're playing that has that one person that you're so intimidated by. You got to take over that whole team if you want a chance. It's kind of like, like I'm not gonna say a name, but like we'll practice in mind saying like, oh, this person is good to do that, so we can't do this. We have to take their skill in mind. Like if we pass it this way, they're gonna cut it off. So we need to figure out how to not to do that. Don't pass it down the middle. Don't kick it up the middle. Don't do soft passes. You gotta get it away from that person, and that's how you take them out.
Well, and CNY United, like I've in my head, I've been talking about you guys, Peyton, for like 3 days to myself as we do these rankings. And one of the things I kept asking myself with all 4 conferences is like, you got to show me, like who since February has shown me. CNY United has shown me, right? Like you and I have talked, Peyton, like, personally off the record, we've talked about your team, the parts that are coming together, right? Like the pieces that we talked about in February, like, having new pieces come in, having those pieces gel together over the course of a season. That is why CNY United for me is number 1 when I think I had you guys like 3rd before in February. Yeah. It's because you've shown me. And so as I go through here, and I especially did this for Champions Conference, like I'm going, which of these teams have shown it to me? Well, frankly, Glassifier has not. Like Shepherd Strikers has not. Like they've not shown me what they can do. I still strongly believe that they can show up and like play that way, but you guys have been playing that way for months now, right? Like you've shown me. So that's why I've got you up there. That's why I've got Auburn up there. But Auburn is another question mark for me because I haven't seen them play a lot of teams like I know Zach and I know what they're capable of, but I haven't I don't know. That's one that hasn't like shown me because they just haven't played enough like high level.
You want to touch on that, Nikki? I mean, we see them all the time.
I think I ranked Auburn just a little higher than CNY because based on personal experience, like we lost to them by wider margins when we played. And I've seen them, it seems like their goal is to sometimes kind of run up the scoreboard. So that's one thing I've noticed.
That sounds like Zach Dickey to me.
I'll tell you this, coming out of the Southeast, I see Zach all the time, and he dominates the Southeast. He is the one player that is on my players' minds all the time because every time they go up against them, they want to cut their teeth and show everybody that they're the best in the world, and therefore they'll dribble right into him and just play right into his game. And that's great for them, but he is the one person out on that court that affects every single player out on that court. So you're always got to be on the lookout for him. You never know exactly what he's going to do. He has a skill set that is, he's a great player. Does things that you're just like, oh my God, how did he score that? And he's always talking. He is always talking. I think from just players that I've been around, he has one of the best mental games going on in the whole sport. And people just, they feed into it. And I know somewhere inside of him, he is just loving every minute of it because that's what he wants you to do. So,
but I'm gonna defend Zach for just 1 second because, like, as a coach, I ran up this reputation of like running up the score, right? And like my defense to that has always been, and we've talked about it on this podcast, like when you have the opportunity to play 4-on-4 games, I don't care who they're against, right? Like we up here in the Midwest, like we used to play Shockwave 3-4 times a year, right? Those scores were embarrassing sometimes. Right. But I'm never going to walk over to Tracy after the game and be like, dude, no, because like they need those opportunities to practice their offense. And so do we, and so does everybody else. Right. And so I am never going to fault a team like for running through whatever they need to run through. And if that's scoring, if that's offensive sets, like, and I'm not like trying to fight you, Nikki. Like I know where you're coming from, and I understand your point about like, you playing them versus playing like CNY and some of these. I totally take your point. But for me, like, I'm never going to fault a player, a coach, a team for scoring when they have the opportunity to run through that stuff. I think they have to do that to prepare.
Would you have that same mindset in the playoffs?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, well, but in the playoffs, you're talking about at nationals?
Yeah.
At nationals, I think you should. Yeah, like
Every
then
goal
your goal
counts.
differential matters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because at nationals, your goal differential can come into play.
The
So in
tiebreaker,
that case, but I've never heard anybody complain about it at nationals.
No.
And I'm not saying
No.
Nikki's complaining. Again, I think
Right,
I
yeah.
take her point.
Yeah.
But like for me, like I'm never gonna, like we lost to Shockwave like 11-0 a few times my first couple seasons.
Yeah.
Like it might have rubbed me wrong the first season, but like the closer we got as Wisconsin Warriors, like trying to make cups, right? Like trying to get promoted, trying to win cups. Like I got to take the opportunities I got, whether they're against Shockwave, whether they're against Northern Lights, whether they're against Minnesota United or Chippewa Valley, like whoever it is, like I got to take those opportunities. So I think all is fair is all I'm saying.
Like it. I like it. Yeah, I kind of backtrack a little bit. I have Chicago Fire pretty high up because they added some players since the last season. So, they got Kenzie, they got Tyler Angle, and they got David Rodriguez. Like, I see them doing some damage. But this conference is so close. So it's like we've been saying, it's anybody's game. It's really anybody's game who's going to show up.
Josh, one of the teams that I was really interested to hear your take on is Steamrollers, because coming into this season, I was a little bit down on them. Like just looking on some of their results from like last nationals and some of the things that they've done over time. I wondered, my thought process in watching them over the course of a season was that like they've done some work and they've really like shown me some results on paper that look better than what I would have expected. Does it feel that way having played out there?
I feel like they've gotten a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent. Okay. Because Matthew's the kind of the guy at center, and then you got Sid, you got Callum Kane, who's the keeper, but he's like a bully keeper. Like he'll bully you through you, like, cause that's his style, and like in the best way possible. Like he'll use his size to like go through you, and so and then Lola, she, like I said this about Lola before in a couple episodes ago, her game has improved. So that's what, when I first played against them this season, it really caught me off guard. I'm like, oh, Lola has improved. Her spin kicks are kind of dangerous in the best way possible. So, like I said, anybody's game. I really think the Steamrollers are going to be, I think they're going to be higher up than I originally had ranked them back in February.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they were the one team I couldn't wait to re-rank because I got it wrong, and I knew I got it wrong.
Yep.
I thought that Josh had said that they had lost some players when, in fact, they had actually gotten better. So, looking at some of the standings, some of the results, I think they're the biggest jump that I had in the conference.
You had them the lowest.
Yeah, because I thought they had lost some pieces. So I'm like, okay, well, let me look at these national standings and rolling into the new season, and I actually did lose some pieces. And then again, the margins are so thin that you're going to drop down. But I think they're a solid squad, and I think they'll make some noise at nationals too. They have just as much of a shot as anybody else. I don't think you can cut this pie any closer of who has the most opportunity. So I can't wait to watch some of these games. It's going to be some good power soccer.
I dropped them 2 spots from my original ranking in February, but that's not a knock on them at all. It's just that the teams above them have gotten better as well. And so, like, I dropped them 2 spots, but they've gotten better since my original ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything about this conference? Peyton, you got some pressure now on you.
I know.
Yeah, I got my money on you,
Yeah,
man.
now you gotta deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was just thinking to myself about, at the start of every season, I like to, talk to the team and see what people want to work on for the season, what goals that we want to create as a team together. And right off the bat, the 13-year-old on my team's like, I want to play in the World Cup. It's like, okay, cool. But there's no World Cup this year. And you're also not 16 for another 3 years. So
Oh boy.
we got a little waiting to do. But
I like it.
But the other goal that we had was we wanted to play in Premier. That's a pretty lofty goal for the team that came in 6th place last year. So we need to come in. We need to get into the 3rd place game. But if that's our goal, might as well have a goal to win it all as well. That's something we'll talk about when we get closer to the tournament. But right now, we're going into this tournament with the guys of top in the charts, so we can play in Premier next season. And yeah, that's what we're going to be focused on. So that's what we've been focused on all season. Really excited. I'd like to see CNY United jump up the charts on all of your rankings. Definitely feel a little pressure, but I mean, this is athletics. Pressure is good. So yeah, we're ready. We're ready to roll.
Hey, Pluver's right. I had you in the 3rd spot. You're in my number 1 spot now. So.
Wow, I know that's intense.
I moved you up, I think, from what, 5 to 3.
You had me in 12th place.
I did. I'll never forget to the day I die.
Don't worry, I'm gonna throw up that picture.
And she didn't even. The first thing she said, she's like, 5, really?
Well, now we all got you. All 4 of us have you guys top 3. So.
Yep. We can all agree on that one.
That's our goal from the start of the season.
And I'm gonna put that picture of you and Alex together from that 5.
Yeah, that was
right here.
I didn't even do the rankings in the first place, but I knew you would be top 3, Peyton. Just want to put that out there.
Hey, there you go.
Nikki's in a unique position to not get trolled here. I do want to mention, though, because we haven't in our whole champions conversation, we actually have a tie at the top for our composite.
Yeah.
This is the only conference that happened. So when we put Josh, Alex, Nikki, and I's rankings all together and give them a score, it ties Auburn and United for tops in the champions. So that's how close this conference is. Like, we don't even know who we think is going to
win.
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember last conversation, Peyton said Auburn and CNY were 2 of the toughest teams in this conference, and they were surprised with themselves last year that they didn't make it to the final. So
I was just going to bring that up.
And here they are, cream rising to the top, right? So
yeah. I mean, last year, Zach and I went into the tournament. Zach and I are close friends, so we talk all the time. But we went into the last tournament like, well, I guess we'll see in the championship game. And then we were playing for the 5th, 6th game. And we're like, what the hell happened to us? Are we locked up or what? So, this is a re-roll for us. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Good old redemption time for you.
Yeah, exactly. But like it keeps coming out in this conversation, this is a tough conference, and there's not much space between all the teams. So it's going to be exciting. Definitely tune in. If you can make the trip to Fort Wayne, we'd love to have you there in June. But if you can't, don't worry about it. The games will be streamed on YouTube, and it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be, as we talked about, it's going to be really exciting, especially once we get to the top teams, and that championship Sunday is going to be one hell of a ride. So really looking forward to it.
I'm really hoping that the Auburn and CNY are going to be in a separate pool. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on championship Sunday, because there's going to be another factor this year where the crowds are going to be insane. And some of these teams that draw huge crowds and just make tons of noise. I mean, we've all watched sports, for years. You can see the difference when somebody's at home versus when somebody's away. So how much will that play a factor into, some of these games that are just, it's like 1-1, 38th minute,
Yeah. So I mean, what Alex is touching on is that USPSA were having all of the championship, all of the playoffs and championship games happen on the same day, and usually they're staggered by a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be really exciting. It's going to create a much more intense environment.
Mm-hmm.
And being at a tournament like that, like you kind of find teams that you like to watch, or you find that you are like you're friends with off the court. So you kind of cheer them on like as you go. And that'll be a cool factor too, to kind of fall in with the teams that you become friends with from different conferences. That's going to be a really cool element that we haven't had at USPSA in a long time. So Fort Wayne's going to get crazy.
It's going to get nuts. It's going to be a big old party. And like, I know we're not talking about Founders and Presidents Conference. Yeah, we've already talked about it in the previous segment. But, because it's Championship Sunday, Playoff Sunday, the Founders and Presidents are going to draw a huge crowd, which is something that they totally deserve.
It's going to elevate those games for sure.
It's going to elevate the game and the experience, especially for the young players that are going to be on the team. Young by age and young by experience. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be fantastic. Yeah.
It's going to be very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, with that, how about we move on to the Premier Conference?
Yeah. First of all, let's throw up the 3-in-a-box composite ranking here and see what everybody thinks. I hope everybody agrees with this ranking.
I hope nobody agrees with it, and you all fight us.
Or you can put your own ranking in the
for sure. Shoot us your top 10s. Put them in the comments.
Please.
Put them Facebook, Instagram, or right.
Yep. DM us. Whatever you can.
Tell us why we're right and why we're wrong.
Ooh, yes.
And feel free to tell us live and in person, because everybody on this pod will be in the same gym in June, and excited to watch y'all prove us right or wrong.
We're excited. All right, Bill, let's do the Premier Conference.
Let's do the Premier Conference.
Hey!
Let's get it going.
Here we go.
It doesn't look like there was a lot of movement when you look at these rankings. But for me, thinking about these rankings was completely and totally different as far as and I started at the bottom last time. I'm going to start at the top with this conference, because we talk about it so much, and so many things have happened, even since last episode. But 3 of the 4 of us still have Minnesota Shockwave ranked number 1. Our composite has them up there. But look at the flip at 2 and 3. I mean, 3-4 months ago, we were talking about how Sudden Impact was going to have to pull it together and prove to us that they belonged in the conversation for top 1 or top 2. They have done that for me.
Yep.
Everything I have seen, every result, every game footage, every bit of RHI Sudden Impact shows me these guys are gelling. And so now for me, it's about Turnstone. Can Turnstone stay in that conversation? Or, is Sudden Impact past them and now competing for first place? And I'm curious to hear what y'all think.
Well, I mean, the top half of our conference or rankings in this conference for all of us is so eerily similar. The biggest difference is I picked RHI at number 1, and everybody picked number 2 for RHI. I'm stirring the pot, this is my bracket buster here. So,
well, let's hear why. Let's hear why, Josh.
Well, the reasoning is because I think it was in the last episode that we had mentioned that RHI Sudden Impact gave Minnesota Shockwave a run for the money. They didn't beat them, but they tied them. I don't remember what the score was, but the fact that they tied them, and can't remember the last time Shockwaves have been tied. 5, 6 years ever? I don't know. But I'm like, oh, this is interesting. It's Jordan, Dickie, and Natalie, and Michael Archer, and Lexi here. Are they all gelling together at the right time? I don't know. It sounds like it. It looks like it on paper. I don't know. Like we all say, the scores, the score sheet doesn't always tell the whole story. You gotta actually watch the game. But prove me right, RHI, please.
Well, I think they've earned a spot in that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like I think that RHI has really proven that they've earned a spot in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you picked it that way. Like they got to show me they can beat them before I'm going to rank them number one. But
Yeah.
I think you ranking them there and also having them, gone from third to two in this conference, that is a huge jump. Like in Premier Conference right now, going from the third best team to the second best team is a huge jump. And for me, they've done that. For me, they've done that, and they showed it back in April when they played Turnstone and they played Shockwave. Tied to Shockwave, they beat Turnstone. Like that for me tells me everything I need to know. Turnstone's going to have to do something different, right?
Yeah.
Alex, were you going to say something?
Yeah, well, to your last thought right there, Turnstone, maybe they'll have to adjust something, but I feel like at this point in the season, you pretty much are who you are, and you should be just kind of like tweaking minor things. And then when you go into off season, that's when you can just, you can tear it back up however you want to. So do they adjust? Maybe a little bit, but I don't know how drastic of a change they can make at this point in the season. I do think that my thought is when you see Shockwave and when you see RHI, you're literally splitting a national team squad in half, and you're competing You're competing against each other, right? So, I mean, if that's the case, then on any given day, one squad or the other could win. So, do I think it's going to happen? I'm not quite sure. I still have Shockwave at number one, but if it gets to the point where those two teams are playing in the end, I mean, and in front of the whole power soccer community, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Every single ball that gets hit, every time it comes near the goalpost, like people are going to be freaking out. So it's going to be fun to watch.
I agree. I mean, I think it's going to be awesome to be a part of, and just to have the whole USPSA family in the gym too that's going to add an extra layer to it. Someone mentioned briefly earlier about the idea of home field advantage. Well, guess who has home field advantage for the millionth in a row? Turnstone, and they have used that in the past. I don't know about this year because the whole USPSA membership is going to be in the building, so that kind of dilutes the power of the home field advantage just a little bit. But I think the thing that comes down to with Turnstone is something we actually talked about in the Champions Conference is that idea of like intimidation. Like when you're talking about RHI and Jordan Dickey and Michael Archer, I mean, those dudes have been the top dogs for however long power soccer has been popular in the US. And then Riley Johnson has taken it over since then. So, so when you have a David Dowling who has the potential to be at that level of those guys, of those all those people in the conversation, but he needs to take the next step. That's a really intense thing to be looking at the people that you've looked up to all these years, and make that decision to say, all right, I'm ready to dethrone you. I'm ready to. I think there's a little bit more to it than that because RHI and Shockwave both have the full package with supporting cast members. But that is definitely a factor. The idea of like you've been looking up to these people your whole soccer career. Now it's your time to shine. That is definitely a big factor in this conversation with Turnstone and especially with David.
I just don't think, because I think the Premier Conference is closer this year than it has been in the past couple of seasons.
At least
Right. So I don't think that the Shockwaves are gonna run away. Like I think they'll still be close to winning it or to win it all, but it's not gonna be like them against the field. I think it could be them against every adversary they're gonna play against, and I think it's gonna be really tight because everybody's gotten more mature as far as their playing style, and I just think it's gonna get tighter.
Well, to that point, Josh. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, to that point, I mean, like, I wouldn't be, and to talking about David too, like, if Turnstone were to sneak in there, and this was the year that they proved that they belong in that conversation while nobody's paying attention to them, like, that wouldn't surprise me either, right? Like, if Monday after Nationals, we're all talking like, holy crud, like, Turnstone took them both down, you know, like, Alex has talked about the brackets a lot, like, who ends up in what pool, like, that wouldn't surprise me. And the other thing that wouldn't surprise me is, like, I, just for a second, just for an instant, just for a moment, like, considered putting LA Galaxy up into the third spot, just for a second, just for a minute. Like, I thought about it. And I think, like, that wouldn't totally surprise me either. And if the brackets work out just right, like, we could be talking about, like, Galaxy up in that group and somebody like a Turnstone maybe down playing Flash for third or something like that. Like, it's not impossible. Like, there is more parity at the top of this conference than there has been since I've been in Power Soccer.
Yeah, we all put LA Galaxy on number 4. And I would agree with you. I was very tempted to put them in third because I played against them this year and they're fast. They're a fast team.
And they've shown me, right? Like, if you look at their results, like I was saying in their previous conversation, like, they have shown me. Like, if you look at LA Galaxy's results, they have gotten better and they have beat some big teams by a lot of goals. Like, they have shown me if they keep that momentum, they very much could end up in that third place conversation.
Yeah, and I was thinking, we spent a lot of time talking about number 1, number 2, and then now we're starting to trickle down. But there's a ton of teams in this conference that are also, you know, really, really good. I think 2, 3, 2, 1, they might just be, you know, they got a half a step on them. But I mean, on any given day, one of those teams can take down one of these giants and make it extremely interesting. So
I mean, what did Nikki think about this so far? Like, I mean,
I was just gonna ask Nikki where she was at on this.
Yeah, what do you think about all this, Nikki?
About the top 3 or just the
like the top 3, top 4. Like what's your take on it?
You can ask me later. The Demogorgons aren't.
Nikki's got Demogorgons outside of her house. We established before we started recording. Nikki has some background noise issues.
Yeah.
Well, I was like excited because, like, Nikki and I have very similar rankings. In fact, I think we have the same with the exception of our 5 and 6. I think we have flipped around. And I was very careful. I did mine first, and then all these guys sent me theirs. So these are, like, last time we had a little discrepancy in who had seen whose brackets beforehand. This time there was none of us.
We all. Hey! You back off! All right. Don't make me bring out my sunglasses, okay?
Oh man, Josh getting feisty today.
all right.
No, but
Nikki's was validating for me because we were very close in some of these.
We were. We literally. Yeah, all 3 of us put Flash at 5, except for Nikki. She put him at 6, and then we flipped on 5 and 6.
But they've only had Flash and Ducks, right? Because and I don't want to take up too much time, but, like, I can look here. They had a 1-0 game and a tie, I think.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Looking at it, if I remember correctly from what I was looking at a day or two ago, they had a draw and then somebody won by 1, and I can click through, but I have so many windows open on this computer.
Let me pull that up first. I'll pull it up. I got it.
I'm interested to see the West Coast versus Midwest battle that happens.
Yes.
In the middle of that bracket. You know, I'm really interested to see, you know, Northern Lights. I wouldn't sleep on them at all because they were doing exactly what we were talking about earlier for the past 10 years. Is, you know, probably getting wiped out by Shockwave multiple times a year.
But we don't know. They have a big X factor, Northern Lights, and that is Lene. Because I think, and nobody knows. If people know, I don't know. You know, I haven't been updated at time of taping, but there's a really good chance they're not going to have Lene for nationals. Right. And that's honestly, truthfully, Lights, that's why I got you where I got you. Assuming that Lene is not going to be on that roster.
Yeah, that's a big deal for them for sure. Yeah.
It's huge.
I would say that my toughest, I guess, since you said we disagreed on whether or not the Flash or Ducks were in like 5 or 6. I guess the reason I diverted from everybody else on that was just because I think that the Ducks have a lot of power players on their team, like several, while the Flash has like one that kind of sticks out more so than others, and so that's kind of why I ranked the Ducks higher.
I can understand that. Yeah, I totally understand that.
But kind of like everyone else was saying, like it could go either way.
Right.
Yeah, I'm interested to see because the Ducks, from my understanding, are playing 4-up.
Yes, they are.
Which can be pretty threatening, and it also can be detrimental for it can really open you up. So when you're playing Premier League teams who are ready to pounce at any type of opening that they can get, it'll be interesting to see how cautious they play it while still trying to keep their game plan of having 4-up. So that'll be really interesting, and I think that'll weigh into that discussion where they land, whether they're going to flip a few spots or jump a couple of people because they gambled and it paid off.
I think they would adjust it, Peyton, if they go out the first 2 games and they just, things don't break their way. And then do they even consider going back to, just 3-up? Or do you just stick with what you have and you just ride it out?
It's tough because, like, if you play against Michael Archer and you're playing with no goalie in the back, there's going to be some, like, 60, 70-foot goals happening.
Yeah.
Well, I'm even thinking about Flash, right? Because, like, Nikki's point, they have a great player that they utilize, like a number 1, right? Like, we all know that. But they also have Alejandro who can, like, thread passes through places to Mike that, like, I can see Mike sneaking through behind the 4 and, like, Alejandro sneaking passes into him back there. Like, I don't mean to, Peyton, like stifle your point, but I think there's more in this conference than just Michael Archer that can do that.
Oh yeah. No, I know that was just an example that I was using to talk to Alex's question. I think it's something that you have to be a little tactical with, but as just kind of the player that I am and the person that I am, I wouldn't want to go away from the identity that got you to where you're at.
So true.
I would want, as their coaching staff or as their leadership, you've had a successful season. You dominated the Champions Cup last year. So, keep going with it. I think if it's not broke, don't fix it. But then again, if you play 2 really good teams right off the bat and you get, 10 goals scored on you, then you got to be a little wary, but you also have to play to your next competition. If the next team you're playing doesn't have that big hitter in the middle, then maybe you do keep running with it and see if you can get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Loving it.
All great takes so far. Did we talk about the bottom? We haven't talked about the bottom third yet.
And I was just gonna tee Nikki up again because, like, Nikki and I both have Northern Lights at 7, Boston Breakers 8, LAFC, New England. I know, Nikki, you played New England and Boston, or just New England?
No, I played New England this season and then played Boston at Nationals last year.
When you guys played New England kind of early season, was it?
We did, yeah. It was back in November, I think.
In New York.
That's kind of based on some of the results there is kind of where I put my ranking.
Okay.
Yeah, I just saw them losing to a lot of teams like LAFC, Boston Breakers, Lights, right? Like, for me, that's why I got them in 10. Boston has had a lot of, like, tight competition they've hung with. Lights was tough for me to rank because I had them at 4 or 5 back in whenever we did it, February. And now just, like, and we all, like, all 5 of us, right, like, have different knowledge of different squads. Josh knows West Coast. Nikki and Alex know Southeast really well. I know the upper Midwest, and I've spent a lot of time, like, in person with Northern Lights, and I talked to Kevin, the coach, a lot, and just, like, have some information. And I might even be overthinking it, right? Because they're another team. I could see. I guess I don't see Boston, LA, or New England up in the top half of this conference, but like there is a version of Minnesota Northern Lights, excuse me, that shows up and plays its way into top 5 in this conference for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, don't you see these teams a lot, don't you, Peyton? With New England, Boston. What's your overall take?
We actually didn't see Boston this year, but I thought they had a great season last year. I think they were kind of a surprise team last year that really gelled pretty well together. I would love to see them continue that. I'm interested to know how they do. New England FC kind of fell off a little bit. I haven't seen them since Nikki was talking about in November. So I'm interested to see where they're at too, but I haven't seen them do too much this year. So I would love to see one of those teams kind of pop off a little bit. And Boston, they're kind of sneaky because they've been around, they've been together for a long time. They're a group of, slightly older dudes. And it's an interesting team to play against because they'll sneak up on you. And I like those guys a lot. I think they're all nice dudes. And I'm interested to see how they do. I'm definitely wishing them well.
They're kind of sneaky fast, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and they have good positioning too.
They do. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, hey, we managed to come in under the time we said we were going to come in.
Hey.
So that's maybe the first time in 6 episodes or 7 episodes that we've been able to pull.
Well, because Nikki's here, that's why she's got to, keep us in shape here. So
that's what we
I think the last time I was on, we went over by like 45 minutes. So.
At least.
Because there's just so much to talk about.
There is.
Well, to be fair, we're kind of introducing each team to not only each other, but to the listeners. And now this time around, I think everybody's pretty familiar.
Right.
It's a good conversation. I mean, we can talk.
Oh, this was, I had a blast, guys. Thanks for having me back. For sure. I'd love to talk about it when everything shakes out after June too. So
100%.
I'm really excited
We'd like to see you at the live shoot.
I was just gonna say that.
The what? What are we doing?
The live show? Breaking news! Breaking news! Wait, Alex, you want to explain what's happening?
Cool.
Hey, 3 in a Box is gonna be there, and we want to get some interaction. We want to get some interviews going. We want to have some fun. And we want to.
So we can tell them. We can tell them, can't we? What we're like the setup and the structure.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Come on.
I mean, we're going to be setting up a booth. We're going to have some merch going. We're going to have a broadcasting booth with the backdrop of the courts, and we want to get a lot of interaction. So stop by the booth.
And every day of nationals after the last game, we're going to do a live stream show where we recap the action from the whole day. So after the last game, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, me, Josh, and Alex, and hopefully Nikki, and hopefully lots of y'all as the weekend progresses, we'll be there for a daily recap show that you can watch live in the building, watch live from your phone, or watch later that night from your hotel room. So we're so excited about that. And we want to say thanks to USPSA and Power Soccer Shop for making that happen. I think it's going to be a really cool way to keep up with what's going on every day.
Right.
Cool, guys. I'm excited for you.
It's going to be great. If you guys are new at booth, feel free to video bomb us. We love to see you guys in the background of our podcast. We want to kind of treat it like a college game day kind of experience,
Leave it to Hollywood to blow this experience up to ESPN.
Hey, you know what? Go big, go home, baby.
I want to see Peyton bring over the cup and just kind of show.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there it is.
Put it on his lap. Just casually drive up to the studio.
Well, we got two people. We got 2 people on the screen right now that are going to be competing for the same cup.
Ooh.
Three.
Three.
Well,
Three of us.
competing directly, yes. Directly,
Yes.
yes.
Sure. Okay. All right. Prove it
It's
to
gonna be
me,
fun.
Chico. Go.
Alex, I'm
Uh,
coming after you. Nikki, I'm coming after you.
Nikki's gonna have to come back on. I mean, we're doing this in reverse order, but
Mhm.
when we do the founders presidents, I mean,
We already did. It happened 47 minutes ago.
Yep, we already did it.
right?
Come on,
Exactly.
Alex.
You cut this out. You can cut it all out. Never mind.
No, we see the future and the past here on Box.
But we got some
All
stuff
right.
to talk about on that one. So.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we did have.
We
some
already
stuff
talked
to
about
talk
it.
I mean,
on that one.
sorry, we have already talked
Cut,
about.
Alex, we're going to have to cut all this out now.
You should rewind if you want to hear
Rewind.
all the fun stuff.
All right,
Everybody's
guys.
going to be
This was
so confused.
awesome.
They're going to have aneurysm.
This was amazing. Thank you, guys. I had a blast. Peyton, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah, of
again.
course.
Thank you to all of our listeners and viewers, because this is it, man. This is the end of season 1 of 3 in the Box podcast. We'll have bonus content for you at Nationals. But we thank you guys so much for supporting us this year and for coming along on this crazy ride. Every intention of being back with you in September. So we're looking forward to that.
All right. Thanks, guys, for the 3 in the Box podcast.
See you next time. See you at
ya.
Nationals.
Hey!
Like anybody knows me.